Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Spark of Genius Flesh and Blood production. We have a little Blitz replay analysis for you guys. So this is one of the games that me and Rob played on Talishar. Very, very handy online client, fan-made, I believe,
Yep, not
and
official.
not official. But it's quite good. It's definitely got some bugs, but we will be using it for this kind of content. It's just a lot easier for us to do replay analysis with this kind of thing. And with that, Blitz is going to be a format coming up for Worlds, so we are going to be putting out some Blitz content. As many people are going to play Valda at Worlds as we got
Hell
Rob
yeah.
on Valda here, my co-creator, co-commentator, co-caster, co-guardian in this particular case, and
Yep.
Valda Bright Axe. I will be on the Iyslander. My name is Eric. I will be player 2 in this scenario. Rob being player 1. This is gonna be from Rob's point of view. Other games will
Hmm.
be from my point of view. This is post ban, post Strider's ban. So
Yeah.
I have hastily slotted in Mage Masters. I am not convinced it's great unless you're using stuff like Tome,
Yeah.
which I don't know is that good in Iyslander because you're not playing a blue out of Arsenal at instant speed. Like
Yeah.
you'd have to take a turn off to tome out. Maybe it's fine. In this particular case, I didn't put anything else in there, so maybe if Rob gives me like a shit ton of space, I can like pitch a blue and sling 2 spells at him.
Yeah. Your hands aren't like that amazing anyway. With like a 4/5
Yeah.
card hand, like you're gonna probably just swing like a 5 damaging spell or something.
Yeah, so my other thing was running Ironhide or Iron Rot. I think another Ironhide is actually pretty reasonable.
Hmm.
So I think in the future I'd probably run Ironhide boots, but we'll see what Mage Masters does in this game.
All right.
And with that, we'll start off. I'll
Start
also
the
know if you like this
footage.
kind of content. This kind of replay content we're doing is definitely a little bit on the new side. Last time was we just do a lot more casting. This particular case is more on the analysis side. So let us know if you like this one a little bit more. All right, let's
All right.
start off here. So,
Play the video. Okay, so I went first
yeah.
as Valda. Here, I won the dice roll and chose to go first because there are a lot of setup things you can do as Valda. Here in my hand, I actually ended up drawing Sift into Potion of Luck.
Yeah.
So really good
Talk
opening
about
hand.
talk
Yeah.
about lucky hand.
Yeah, I know, right? So I ended up playing the Sift yellow. I ended up bottoming 2 of the cards from my hand, the non-potion cards, and then drawing
Hmm.
2. For Valda, you want to hit that 3 Seismic Surge breakpoint to get Dominate on your crush cards. So Sift yellow,
Hmm.
yellow Sift isn't enough to get that. So I'm looking for one more Sift potentially here just to get that 3 breakpoint. Potion of
Well, I
Luck
guess
being a really good card turn 1.
yeah, like you could have just put the luck down there and got the guaranteed Valda because you could have just put 3 to the bottom, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Potion
Um,
of Luck bottoms your hand and arsenal.
yeah,
Um,
I think that's fine keeping the potion of luck up there. I think it's just such a strong card because it
mhm.
comes in at instant speed. So
Yeah.
getting that down turn 1 is quite ideal, and you can draw another sift if you feel like it,
Which
and then play that sift, and
here's
then
Yeah. So I ended up drawing
you
into
just
a
get
blue sift
rewarded.
here after the yellow sift. So that is exactly what I needed. 3 seismic surge tokens after playing this second sift.
So what is now that you have some Valda games under your belt?
Two
I
two whole
consider you
Valda
an
games.
experienced Valda player. What is your goal in this game in Iyslander?
My goal is just to be aggressive. I think the more seismic surge turns you can get sequentially, the better you are, because you are
Okay.
just dominating after dominating, right? And that's pretty much what you want to do. On the few hands where I didn't have seismic surges, it felt really bad because I had to pay
Yeah.
full price for a non-dominated spinal
We
or
don't go to
thunderquake.
the discount grocers here at Spark of Genius, so
Yeah,
we don't like
so
full price.
and I've had a few turns in this game where I had like a one costed spinal, I think, or a one costed
Yeah.
thunderquake for 10, right? So really good
Yep.
value. The pummels are especially good because of that crazy discount you get, so you can oftentimes afford the pummel.
It's true. So on my side on the Iyslander, Freezing Point was my only red. I had a couple blues, Freezing Point, I had Insidious, I had Frost Hex. So I end up just throwing the Freezing Point out for 5, get a little bit of chip damage. He's only running Arcane 3.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get a little bit of chip damage. Velda does start at 21, which is actually quite annoying.
Yeah.
Because any extra life is quite good
Yep.
into someone who does mainly arcane damage, because life is king in that case, whereas armor is not as useful, right?
For sure.
So I just sling out the freezing point here. My plan is like I can either arsenal the Insidious Chill or I can arsenal the Frost Hex.
Yeah.
I end up arsenaling the Frost Hex because I think the Insidious Chill is kind of useless into this matchup. I don't without Striders, the chance to actually get a sneaky Insidious pop is just so much less.
Hmm.
So I end up just pitching the Insidious, getting the Frost Hex. So we're back to
Yeah.
Rob's
So looking
turn.
at my hand, when I was deciding to block any of the arcane damage, I saw that I had just enough to play out the Terra Sunder plus I believe I played out the Mangle. No, yeah, it was Mangle here. Yeah, so Mangle only costing I believe 1 in this case. We'll have Dominate, and now we'll have the on hit of the Terra Sunder. So really good turn 2. I think I kept the Sift because I didn't want to risk you reacting to Sift, I guess, or giving me a Frostbite or something. I just wanted to like have a clean hand, play it out properly. I think I had 1 floating at the end, so I was accounting for a Frostbite that you could give me. Because playing Terra Sunder and then getting a Frostbite and not being able to play the attack is really, really bad. So I had 1 floating. I was still safe from 1 Frostbite.
Yeah, I ended up not giving him the Frostbite here just because I thought he probably would have accounted for it, and he already had 3 Seismics, so
Big
I
brain
thought
time.
the chances were... Well, yeah, because I'd rather get the Frostbite out after and then potentially get down, because I had the Frost Hex,
It was
right?
Frost
so if
Hex,
I play the Frost
yeah.
Hex, if I play the Frost Hex, it'll give the Frostbite and do the damage. So if he's at 0, I am going to start chipping away, right?
Yeah. Here in this
And
case,
thought
I
it
was
might...
able to save the 1, so I was
Yeah.
able to block out that arcane damage.
Yeah, it is important to note that in Talishar, I think it's still bugged that on the Seismic Surge pops when they activate on the actual turn, it doesn't give me a priority, a window to actually respond. That is still a bug in there, so I would recommend to keep that in mind.
Yep.
That does definitely have implications in these kinds of games. You can't react properly in priority windows, but nevertheless, we are playing playing with that in mind.
Yeah, giving the
And
Frostbite before I attack is a huge deal because I might not have afforded the attack, in the first place. So
yep,
I
it
try
is
not to
it is
play with that bug knowing that I
that
can
mentality.
abuse
Yeah,
it. I try to have
yeah,
that, the mentality that I do want to have the 1 resource extra when I do it, play something
yeah,
or attack.
yeah. In this particular case, I've got some blues. I have Oasis in hand, which is quite good in this case. I don't gain the life. However, I am trying to figure out how to actively block the full 9. Cards like Oasis Respite, D-Reacts are quite good at that. I do still have that Frost X in Arsenal, so I'm just figuring out the best way to efficiently block here. So I end up Oasising first, and then blocking out with the armor, and blocking out with another card in hand. So fully blocking out is a red Aether Hail. I'm not going to be able to keep enough cards to actually play it out.
I like that dominate
And
keyword up here.
the
Just
dominate
this,
keyword is large.
it's
It's
kind of
large and in
like
chart.
wrestling font.
Yeah. So here I block out with Ironhide, I block out with a card and Oasis that covers the full 9,
Yeah, you fully
which is
blocked
kind of
here.
nice. Yeah, well, I blocked 5 and then prevented 4,
Yeah.
but either way, I prevent the Terra Sunder trigger, which is what I was trying to get away with. And I'm not going to have enough to play out the Frost Hex, but that's the reason I didn't immediately play the Frost Hex, right? I had a Sigil left, so I get to 1 card Sigil. It's kind of
Yeah,
nice.
pretty good, pretty good. I forget if I
So my
potioned
hand,
here, but I know I potioned somewhat
you did, you
soon
potioned here,
in
you potioned
reaction
here.
to your. Yeah, there we go. So being able to
Yeah,
get those 5 seismic surges for my next turn,
yep,
really, really
very
good.
good. Yep. And on my
Here,
side, one of the reasons why I didn't Frost Hex is to be able to, out block something like that, because I knew I would need a pitch for Oasis. So that's the reason why I didn't Frost Hex that last turn.
yeah, and here, funny enough, I was actually able to afford to play out the pulverize for 14 here, because it does
Yep.
cost, I believe, only 5, but it doesn't gain dominate, which is the unfortunate part. So I decided let's put resources into my next turn. I will play the Sift, mulligan my hand, and the next turn I will get another dominate. So even though my hand was good, I figured Sift still made sense because you want to push those resources forward as much as you can.
Yeah, it's very similar to Bravo in that way. You want to make sure you have the least amount of off turns possible because your off turns are real bad compared to like Ultim's
Yeah,
off turns. You can still do like you can pitch for a Frost Hammer, you can
yeah.
play like a Winter's Bite. Like there are elemental things you can do. Elemental cards are actually quite decent on off turns because they are relatively fewer resources for the output you can get, either detrimental or positive. Something to be said is like the Helm of Ice and Peak is also good for an off turn in Valda's case.
Yeah, and I think it came up once in this. Well, oh, obviously not more than once, but it came up once where it made sense just to forego my turn and play the
Yeah,
Helm of Ice and Peak.
yeah.
So
And so in this
redrawing
case,
cards here. This was a
I
funny
do,
one.
I do play the Frostbite.
Yeah.
I do play the Frost X in this case to give you the Frostbite. The reason I do that is because I think that one off might do a lot of damage, and I had a lot of blues in hand.
Yeah. So here I kept the this round's on me just to be able to block out some arcane damage. I did make a mistake. I think I pitched the wrong card here. I should have pitched out this round's on me instead of Cranial Crush. But I think I saw the Frostbites, and I thought sorry, not the Frostbites, the Seismic Surges, and I thought I had 4 only, not 5. But I actually had 5 from the previous turn, whereas here it showed me 4 for the next turn. So I confused myself.
That is a little bit, yeah. Talshar is a little bit strange that way, and it doesn't show. Usually in game, like you have your seismic on the left, and then you have your seismic on the right, and then the ones on the right above the pitch zone are the ones that are active on the turn, and the ones on the left are the ones that you have prepared for the next one.
Yeah, Talshar did show it, but it was like on the left of my boots down here. So I wasn't looking there. So
it showed as active. It's not really in your face. It just shows as like active on the left, and you have to like mouse over to figure out what exactly is going on.
So anyway, in my head, I was like, I'm gonna pitch Cranial and this round's on me to pay 4 instead of 3. But I just pitched the Cranial, and that was enough. And I was like, oh crap, I would have pitched this round's on me. Yeah. Anyway, it didn't end up mattering because I think you Waning Mooned me anyway, so I was able to pitch this round's on me regardless. But
because this was dominated. So in E-Strikes in this matchup, I do run 2. I definitely block out because he's running 3 armor, so they're really not going to be nearly as efficient as just slinging Arcane at him. Unless my hand is like, he doesn't do anything, I block with a card and come back with like E-Strike and something else, right?
This is a fun Righteous Cleansing here. So I ended up seeing 2 Ice Eternals. I was like, it's Blitz, you only got 2, so get him out of here.
Yeah. Real bad, especially when I don't have Striders to get something else out, and he's taking my 2 main win, like one of my 2 main win cons that are traditionally seen as good.
So that was a really nice Righteous.
Ice Eternal is a little bit less good in Blitz, still good off Frostech package, but I never thought I would have enough time to put that through because you have so many dominated cards. Yeah, real awkward here. So and the key is that he gets the dominate, and he still has 4 surges active right now because of the Sith.
Keep pumping those surges out.
Yeah, and so he's gonna get another dominated card.
Yeah, so this hand was interesting. I ended up having a lot of blue. I had this rounds on me, which it was a funny card to see because against Iyslander, right? Without Stormstriders, I'm not as threatened if you have a big hand. It's like I can play this out now and only have to worry about the arsenal. And if I'm dominated anyway, an extra card for you probably won't matter unless it's an Oasis or Respite or something. So I ended up actually playing out this round's on me. I don't regret the decision. I think it was still okay to do. If he did have any E-Strikes left or anything like that in his deck, this would still prevent 1 damage from those attacks. So utilizing my cards as best as I can.
Yeah, on my side, I'm super down to get another card.
Draw a card, yeah.
Yeah, the issue is he had Dominate here, so it's kind of like, well, unless I draw into another Oasis, it's not usually going to be a blocking card. On that kind of and on that respect, I ended up just drawing another blue. It was another kind of bluish kind of hand here on the Iyslander side. So in this case, I'm just trying to still chip down a bit.
Yeah. So here I'm prioritizing playing the Crush effect instead of the Thunderquake. Thunderquake is stronger, and he's going to play his Arsenal out anyway, so this Crush effect doesn't matter. But it's just to be able to get Dominate off of Valda's ability. Just the more Dominates I can get, the better.
Yep. It also punishes me if I play a red spell from the Arsenal, right?
That's
if I am... Oh, and if I have Mage Masters, if I have Tome of Find Out in the Arsenal, for example. Like, there are cards in the Arsenal that maybe now
play out. Yeah, that's true, actually, yeah. I hadn't considered that. I just assumed automatically you were playing it, because most of the time you do play the blues in there.
But now you never know.
Now you never know. Yeah, that's true.
Mage Masters, right?
Disable Stomps going up.
Mage Masters, you want to play red and Tome, like Tome of Findel's and then red ice spells in the Arsenal. So then on your turn, you can pitch, red spell, Arsenal blue.
Yeah, 10 arcane damage, pretty nice.
Yeah, you could hypothetically like play double freezing points and then hit for like 12. Well, you'd have to have
with the frost hex. I guess it would have been 12, right? Yeah.
So in this case, I did have blue ice bolt in the Arsenal, pitching to just play a ice bolt, give the frostbite, and then use the tunic counter to be able to hit with the waning moon. This is of course this is dominated, so I knew I was pretty cognizant that I might as well just pitch.
Yeah, just dump it out.
Card. Yeah, pitch a card for the moon, and then use the tunic on Rob's turn.
Yep.
And because I wouldn't be able to block with multiple cards anyways, so I'm trying to keep a reasonable hand. I think in my hands there's 3 blues and a red spell. So I ended up blocking with one of the blue cards is Emeritus Scolding. And that leaves me with, I believe, another freezing point. I think I had a blue card, a freezing point, and an ice card. So blocking with the scolding lets me actually come back for 6 on my turn, which is pretty reasonable because it'll poke through at least 3 damage.
Right. Actually, one thing I forgot to mention too about this round's on me. I got 2 seismic surges because we both drew a card. So I actually forgot to mention that was part of the play. It only occurred to me after.
It's actually pretty pog.
So it's actually yeah, I totally forgot that I would have gained the seismic surges there. Yeah.
Yeah. Was there a turn where we forgot where you got surges
from?
And
that must be it. Yeah. I think we just forgot I gained surges. So now I gained 2 from this round's on me and 3 more for heaving, which puts me at 5.
Yep.
I think that other time I had like 4. It'll probably come up, but that might be why I had the extra seismic surge. Yeah.
Yeah. On my turn, as Rob saw before with Righteous Cleansing, he knows my hand. It's a bunch of Cold Snap.
2 of the cards, I guess. Yeah. Or 3 of them.
Yeah. You knew Cold Snap, and I believe it was a freezing point.
The first one.
Scolding.
Yeah.
So you know the card in my hand is freezing point, a Cold Snap. And if you didn't know it, now I'm fusing it with a freezing point. So
if you didn't know it now, you know for sure.
You know for sure I had Cold Snap, and then the other one's a Cold Snap. So Emeritus was the only one that blocks for 3, which is why I block with it. Yeah. Save a little bit of life. I am at 8. I'm not like super scared, but with Mage Masters, I'm a little bit more scared than I used to be, because Dominate is real, and there's not a ton of damage I can do when he's on like 13 life still.
Yeah.
So I decided to just sling back for 6.
Yeah, 6 being really annoying here because I really wanted to get this pummel off, and I wanted to make use of those seismic surge tokens. So looking at my hand, I'm thinking like Pulverize is the only thing that I don't really need. If I overpitch for this arcane damage, I wouldn't be able to play out the pummel. So I think I just pitch out the 1 just to mitigate 1 point of damage, and then try to get in a really nice Thunderquake pummeled.
Yeah, no, that's fair. There are like a reasonable amount of reds in Rob's deck, so I am like kind of thinking in the back of my head if I can go a little bit, like eventually there'll be hands that he has that don't have 3+ blues, and where he's gonna have to like miss a seismic turn, and that will be the turn where I can really like come back with some tempo without Striders. So in this particular case, I just arsenaled my other Cold Snap because it's going to be good for that turn where, maybe I get Tunic the 3 and I'm able to get like the 5-card hand.
5-card hand.
With Mage Masters.
Arsenal, yeah.
Yep, Freeze Arsenal's pretty good, as we will see. So Rob, you're coming in with the yield Thunderquake.
The 1-cost Thunderquake for 10.
So I know you said that this doesn't gain the Dominate because it doesn't have Crush.
Not a Crush, yeah.
Yep. So
yeah, unfortunately, the other Crush cards I had in my hand were blue. And with the pummel, I didn't really care. The only issue that I regret a little bit is if I had played the dominated blue card, I could have pummeled and gained value, because here you see that you emptied your entire hand into this attack. Yeah. So pummel is only 2 damage in this case, right? Only.
It was an E-Strike, an Aether Ice Vein red, and a blue card, and then I had Sigil left in my hand.
Yeah, so I
literally just block 9 and then Sigil. Yeah,
exactly. So I wasn't able to strip a card from his hand if I didn't play Dominate, but it was more damage overall. So
you still got 2 through. You still got 2 damage through.
Yeah.
After all of that, like you got my entire hand. And it's still 2 damage, because if you didn't, I would have probably pitched a Cornet Peak and took a card out of your hand.
Right, that's true.
And then sigiled.
Yeah, so looking at my hand here, I think I might have misplayed because I ended up losing the potion. I think I might have sifted 3 cards, including the potion. But the problem with potion this late is it does kill your turn, because there is no go again. So, and Sift did give me 3 seismic surges if I did put down the potion. But I think looking back, I had a few dead turns after where potion would have really helped me out. So I think here, I think
potion is definitely like mandatory in this particular case, just to like save your, save one of your future turns, because you have Buckling Blue in Arsenal, right?
Exactly. That was really hard to get rid of because I don't want to play it. You're right. So then the potion would have helped me remove the Arsenal card and gotten it to my hand instead, which later in the game would have been really, really good. Because I think I had a few heave cards. I had a Thunderquake that I wasn't able to heave. I was necessarily like forced to play out the Arsenal card to be able to heave. So Potion would have been great. The only issue here is that I don't have anything to play if I just play Potion. I could have sifted for 2 cards, kept Potion, and just played it out. Assuming you would probably attack me with something from Arsenal plus the Waning Moon. So I guess I could have utilized those cards for pitch instead.
Yep.
But
In this case, it's
yeah.
just I just played out the cold snap. Rob decides to not pay
Yeah.
because he likes discount grocery stores, and I have the two floating. I'm getting rid of the Amulet of Ice. Is the only card in my hand that didn't block, so I didn't really need it in this case. It wasn't really my win con to
Oh
like take
yeah.
cards out of his turn.
And looking here, I think I ended up pitching. Yeah, yeah. So this actually, your one frostbite ruined my hand here because I was gonna pitch 6 for the Thunderquake,
Mm.
or I would have wanted to pitch 4 for debilitate. But either combination requires me to have an exact number, pitch number, whereas the one frostbite messes both of them up. So I could have also pitched for Titan's Fist, but this was the one turn where I figured. I think we talked about. You convinced me to use my Eisen's Peak here, which I think was the right play because I was able to pitch. Yeah, here I pitched for Thunderquake, forgetting that I had to pitch 7, not 6. So replay, and then I ended up breaking the Eisen's Peak instead.
Yeah. Yeah, because your other plan is to because a waning is coming at you, so you're gonna want to keep a blue, right? So
Yeah.
your hopes are either you Titan's Fist for 4, you get some vanilla damage, you get a card out of my hand. However, I still have 4 cards in hand because of the cold snap.
Hmm.
Right, so I could pretty easily block with a card and still sling a spell back at you. And worst case scenario for you, it's like a red ice bolt or something like that, which
Yeah.
does come in for 5, which will get chip damage through.
Yep. Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
your other option is you helm. So you would pitch a blue helm, or you can pitch your Thunderquake and then a blue if you want to get a Thunderquake out of your hand. Either way, it
Yeah.
lets you filter a card and lets you get maximum kind of value out of your helm because at this point the game is reaching.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
reaching a conclusion sooner rather
Yeah.
than later.
The alternative too would have been to pay for the what card did you play again? The Cold Snap. So I could have paid for Cold Snap, unfrozen the arsenal, pitched 6 to play it out, and still had a bit left over to block for your Waning Moon. But then I wouldn't have had an arsenal because that card really prevented me from heaving my Thunderquake here. That would have been a really good card to just be able to play out because I had the extra 2 cards here. So without the arsenal, it would have made a lot more sense for me to helm and then heave. But anyway,
Yeah.
didn't have that luxury.
That's fair. Which is what Frostbite's good at, right? So in this particular case, Rob's good at drawing 5 cards. On
Oh,
my
yeah.
side, he's at 8. So my plan is I have Tunic up. So I'm gonna be able to like mitigate an awkward pitch turn where if I have like a blue Ice Bolt, I'm able to pitch a blue and Ice Bolt Waiting Moon, which is gonna be the main use of the Tunic for the rest of the game. Is going to be those kinds of plays.
Yeah.
On Rob's side, he has 5 cards plus an arsenal, and he has 4 surges, so he's
This
gonna
is a
have
good
another
hand.
dominate. Yeah, so I'm trying to think about the most taxing play I can. So something like I'm thinking about pitching for like Mage Masters, do something, and then
Hmm.
Coronet Peak. That's something
Yeah.
I can do with the Tunic, specifically using the Tunic for Mage Masters. That's kind of like the one thing. It's like it still only costs 1, like Striders. So I'm thinking about a play like Mage Masters, get a spell, and then Coronet Peak. However, I have Channel Lake Frigid.
Yeah.
And if I know something about Channel Lake Frigid, it's an annoying, annoying card,
It
right?
is. It really prevented me from playing Sift on my turn. Because I was gonna
So
be. Yeah.
yeah, because I knew he had a dominate. I was at 6. I still have Cornet Peak and Tunic, so I didn't think he could kill me that turn. And so what I did is I just played out the channel with my Ice card and then
Yeah.
the Ice Bolt for 5,
Pretty good.
and then I have a
Good
card
turn.
to Arsenal. Yeah, that was what I dictated was kind of the more ideal turn. Like playing out Arctic Incarceration doesn't really do much. Like even with the Mage Masters, I didn't have some crazy non-attacks. And the
Yeah.
last card in my hand, I could have played it with Mage Masters. However, I decide to Arsenal. Like I could have gone for that kind of play, but Channel is quite expensive, so I just end up to do the Channel. It's essentially the same as giving him a Frostbite, because
Yeah.
he's probably only doing one
Just
thing
doing one
anyways.
thing. Yeah, exactly. The Sift would have
Yeah.
been excellent on that turn, just to propel the discount for next turn. But then if I play Sift, it costs me 1. Then you tax me with a Frostbite maybe. Actually, I didn't have an Arsenal, so I probably wasn't afraid of that. But the extra
No, I
cost
did.
of Sift.
I had Ice Fang.
Oh,
I
you
just
played Ice Vein just now. I'm sorry. Yeah, so the extra Frostbite could have potentially come, which means I wouldn't have been able to afford the Spinal. So I opted not to play the Sift, and just went out with a Spinal with some cards in hand, or with 1 card in hand to be able to block some Arcane here.
Yep.
So I blocked
And so in
2
this
of
case,
it.
I'm just gonna, yeah, I'm just
1.
gonna respond to the Spinal here because I can't respond to the. I would if I could respond
To the Seismic Pops. Yeah.
but I can't. And this card has Dominate because This was 4, right? This was 4
This was
Seismics. So
it
this
was
costs
for
1.
4. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it costed 1, and then I had the Sift to pitch 2 for your Ice Vein there.
Yep, which is pretty good. You're still coming in for 9 dominate. So
Hmm.
I'm sitting here. I have to give him armor. So like this is where like
Yeah.
if I had another piece of Ironhide, I'd be in pretty good shape because then
Right.
I could pick another blue, use the other Ironhide. If I wanted to use Coronet Peak, I could, and I could still use Waning Moon, and that would be excellent, right? Or what I can do is I can pitch for Moon, use the Ironhide, use the last card for Coronet Peak, and then I'm even more efficient, right? But in this particular case, I have Mage Masters. I've learned my lesson.
Yeah, it
And
didn't really work for you, I guess. There wasn't really a case where you could really use
I
it
didn't have the right
effectively.
hands. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't have the right hands to really play it out that well. I would have had to use Arsenal. However, you were coming in with a lot.
Yeah.
Like even your undominated like Thunderquake for 10, I couldn't just sit there and
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
10. So
Yeah. Plus pummel, I
that
think
is,
at that turn, I think I pummeled it. So even better.
yeah, you did pummel it. And so this particular case, I ended up just pitching to give you
Yeah.
so
So you
blocking
blocked with
for
Coronet
5 here.
Peak.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you were debating the Tunic as well. This would put you down to 2 currently, and the Tunic would put you to 3. Um, so yeah, bit of a debate whether or not you would have the extra 3 turns or not this game. So I think you opted instead to just block. Or sorry, you were at 1 with Coronet Peak and then 2 with the
Yeah.
Tunic. Sorry, I
Yeah,
miscounted there.
I
Yeah.
ended up just blocking 5. I don't think like keeping the 1 in case I was like pretty sure it wasn't going another 3
Mm.
turns, but just in case it gets to that point, the difference between 3 or 2, I'm dead regardless as far as the
Yeah.
dominate goes. So I don't think I was that, and then I like a red pummel would kill me anyways.
Oh yeah.
It would really only be a blue pummel that would really like, but in that case, I would just throw the tunic in front of it also.
So
If I was afraid of that, so I
this
would.
hand was so tragic. I think so. I think the play was play out the. No, I actually ended up attacking with Titan's Fist here, because there's no world where I pitched 4 for Mangle and just die to a Waning Moon, or pitch. Yeah, I couldn't even afford the Spinal, so it had to be Titan's Fist here. There was no way around it. Passing was also an option as well, just to. Well, I guess I wanted to play out the Arsenal, so probably even pitching 4 for the Arsenal didn't make sense because Waning Moon kills me. So
Yeah.
I had to Titan's
Here's-
Fist.
Yeah, here's where I think this is the biggest change to the deck that I would recommend. I would recommend running Crown of Providence instead of Helm Weissen Peak. The reason is Crown of Providence would have saved his ass right here because it would have gone that blue. It's the same reason you run it in Bravo, right? You get to mitigate one bad arsenal,
Yeah.
and that buckling blow has been in Rob's arsenal forever, forever.
Yeah,
Pretty
the only
much,
issue is you don't have attack actions that often, so it's like I have to wait for you to actually attack me.
right? True, but compared to Helm, it's like.
Yeah. I mean, Helm. I would say in Iyslander it's debatable, but in most other matches, yeah,
Yeah.
Helm. The
Oh no!
Crown
Well,
makes so much more sense.
I think Crown is not on the list. Is it?
It might
Right?
not. Maybe it's a skull cap instead of crown. It's one of the two. I forget.
It might be Skullcap. Yeah. I don't think
Yeah.
I saw Crown of Province list. Like in this particular case, yeah, you're into Iyslander, you're probably now signing it in. But into other decks, you still draw a card off Crown of Providence. Do
Yeah.
you not? Like you still draw the card. Off
Yeah,
Crown of
yeah.
Providence.
You would still draw. You're right. Yeah, so it would still activate Valda's ability or the Earthlore Surge's ability, Earthlore Bounty. I'm sorry. Yeah. So here.
No,
So
it doesn't activate Earthlore Bound.
uh
Bounty is only action cards.
oh, it's only action cards. Okay, yeah. So yeah, in my 2 games of Valda, I've only played the Helm of Eisenspiel.
It's mainly for the Arsenal play. It's mainly to get a bad card out of the Arsenal and to draw a new card and be able to like pay for something bigger to finish off the game in Blitz.
Right.
That's into non-wizard classes. In this case, I think Helm is fine into wizard, but Arcane Barrier would have also been pretty good.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, so that play, I was kind of hoping that. So best case scenario, I attack with the Titan's Fist. I still have 3 reds in hand, 2 left to pay for the pummel for game. I was hoping you had a red in arsenal, so that you couldn't react to the attack, and you just block up, and I'd kill you with pummel. That was the dream. But because I had 3 red cards, I couldn't effectively block it. If I had a blue card in hand, I would have survived your onslaught of I think it was Aether
what
Hail
did I-
plus.
Oh,
we
Blue
can go back. I think it was Blue Aether
No,
Hail.
It was Blue Aether Hail. Yep, it was Blue Aether Hail.
Well, let's find it here.
Blue.
Aether
yes,
Hail
it's
plus
the
Waning
top
Moon.
card.
Yeah, so if one of these 3 cards that I had was a blue, like for example Spinal was blue instead, I would have been able to pitch the blue block, I guess, both arcane damage, and then when your waning moon came, I could have pitched a red.
Pitching on the red.
Yeah, exactly, to survive.
And gone to one. Yeah, and you would have gone to one and get one more turn.
Yeah.
That being said, you didn't have any seismics generated on that turn, so you wouldn't have gone to dominate. So I would have just blocked with like 2 cards or something like that, because I don't think you could do anything on your hand. Because even if you give me the red there and the blue, you have 1 card in hand.
Yeah, I would have survived, but not looked really good. Like I wouldn't have been able to afford the pummel. If those were 2 blues and a pummel, I block and probably still kill you.
Yeah, but
because I could block the 5 and go down to 1, and then have enough for pummel, I believe. Or I block 4 to the 5 with my 6 pitch. I take 1, and then I kill you with the pummel with my remaining 2 pitch. That would have been.
You had the blue here.
If I had 2 blues,
you would have needed. Yeah, if you would need one of those cards to be a blue, and then you can.
Well, 1 blue survives the turn, and 2 blues kills you with pummel, I believe.
Yeah, well, you haven't prevented any damage on the Aether Hail yet on this particular case. You've just pitched to Titan's Fist, so it would be another blue to prevent.
So 1 blue, I would have prevented 2 of the Aether Hail.
Another blue to actually need 3 blues this hand. You need 1 blue to swing. You need 1 blue to pay for pummel. And you needed 1 blue to survive. Because this is all happening before.
Yeah. Sorry. So I'm talking about after I pitch for Titan's Fist. Yes. So 3 blues, and then I use 1 for Titan's Fist, 1 to survive, and 1 for pummel. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and so.
So there was a world where I won that game.
But, yeah, if you have literally those 2 reds are both blues, that's the world.
Yeah, but either way, I think so. The good thing about Striders being banned if you're against Iyslander is that you don't have to worry about dropping too low. Because I think I was at 6 at one point on your turn. If you had Striders, I would have lost that game.
I would have won the game off Striders then.
Yeah, exactly. So as Valda, you're able to take a bit more damage and go down to like 4 or 5 and not feel that threatened. You can go all in on your own turn, assuming that you have at least like enough to block out the the waning moon, and not die. So if you're at 3, you can't go all out. But if you're at 4 or 5, you might be okay. But Stridersing, obviously, being able to pump out a 5 attack card on your turn plus Waning Moon is at 8, you're dead, right?
Yeah. I don't really like Mage Masters in this current iteration, and I don't know if I'm a big fan of adding Tome of Findel to Iyslander. Like, it's very, very good in Kano, because you have a lot of things you can do with those blues.
You're right,
but using Mage Masters and then being only be able to swing 1 spell, because Iyslander, you can't just Kano off the top and hit them with stuff with the extra cards. I don't know how much I like Findels in Iyslander Blitz, so I'd probably just go with Ironhide Legs. And that would have been really good this game, because I would have been able to get a lot more flexibility with my pitch, because I can essentially pitch a blue, and I can block for 4. Block with 6 off Cornet Peak if I want, right? 7 off Tunic. So anyways, that's kind of how we think. That's how I think about that. If you like this kind of content, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Any comments you have about our template, where our faces are, we can move it around. We had to Rob kind of made it so to expand the gameplay as much as he could,
so you can see things a little better. Yeah,
a little more clear. We're getting old, we got to see it.
Yeah.
And with that, appreciate everyone for watching. From wherever you're watching in the world, have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Bye for now.